Hi everyone, this is Bruno from House of Falcone. I am here with my good friend Philip South. We met very, very recently in a massive event in LA. And I have to say, Philip, like the reason why I wanted to connect is because literally out of a 5-minute conversation, we were able to connect, and real entrepreneurs, they say yes, they take any and every possibility and opportunity out there. And you were so kind to be very, very excited about doing a podcast together. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. You know, meeting you and meeting everybody that at our event that we had in the US was fantastic, mind blowing, and I'm all about networking and adding people to sort of my group of friends, if you
Yeah.
will.
And
And
I
that's
think that
honestly,
networking in that kind of situation, it's a massive event. There's 2,000 people in the room, but still you get to pick the people that you are attracted to. Like it's some sort of an unspoken rule within a massive event like that, and I call it lions and gazelles. I feel like the lions get to meet and recognize other lions within the people attending, and the gazelles recognize the other gazelles. And the rule of that jungle, it might feel like a controversial statement, but at the same time, that's how the world works. That's how business works, and lions like to mingle with lions. What do you think about this concept?
I think it's a great analogy. Haven't heard it quite like that before, but it's true. It's kind of like the law of attraction, right? You attract who are more like you, who are more like-minded and visionary like you. And I think that that's what happened in this instance. And it does happen around the world. It happens in sometimes like relationships as well. People wonder, why do I always have these same type of relationships? It's what you're attracting and what you are more likely to be, right? So if you are a lion, then you're going to be hanging out with the lion pack, and if you're a gazelle, then you're running with the gazelles. Free.
I think there's perks and greatness about both roles.
Mhm.
I think that
Yeah.
and that goes in the definition of success for many people. They'll have a different definition of success. What I wanted to aim at though is that the event was again 2,000 people. We were there for 5 days, and I must admit, most likely from day one or one of the first days, you stuck out from the crowd in a positive way, right? And at the end of it all, we were able then to connect. So what I wanted to point out is the fact that at every time that I will walk past you, or like I will see you in the crowd, you had a way of being. You were very well dressed. That obviously that's one of the things that caught my attention the most. You were very well dressed, very well groomed, and kind of like giving you that sense that because you take care of the external aspect, because you take care of how you represent yourself within the crowd, then I had confirmation of what you do in life, what you do in your professional life, and it really mirrors it. How you do one thing is how you do everything. You present and you look amazing within the crowd, and then within your professional aspect, you're absolutely killing it, and you're really changing people's lives. Can you please tell me a little bit about what makes you different, and why did you decide to uh, appear a certain way? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to, who are you trying to speak to or to appeal to by the way that you represent yourself?
Well, first off, thank you. I really appreciate that. I do take pride in how I do represent myself, I believe that we are a brand and we're always selling ourselves everywhere we go. That notion, that mindset actually came from my mother. When we were children, she would have us dress up going to the doctor's office. She said, the doctors are taking care of your body. So make sure you smell good, you look good. You have, like, we would iron our clothes before we went to the doctor's office, and we would get dressed up. So it was one of those things of representing yourself with respect, and how you present yourself to the world is how they're going to see you, right? And
Mm.
people will respect you more if you are taking care of yourself, right? You're putting in that effort every single day to work on your brand, which is you, right? That's you. This is the first thing people see every single day, when they are actually physically seeing you. And so the world, is very judgmental, right? And so it kind of breaks down certain barriers and walls and discomforts when you do represent yourself, and you take yourself a little bit more seriously than not, right? So that's
All
where it
right.
comes from for me.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. Yeah, keep on going.
Yeah, no, that's where it comes from. It comes from my mom, and she had respect in, who she was and who she wanted her children to be. And it stuck. Whatever she did, it stuck. So kudos to her. And she always said something. She always said, "Well, how you represent yourself is how you represent me, right? And how
Mhm.
you represent your rest of your family. We're a tribe, right? And so everywhere you go, everything you do, that's a reflection of us collectively. And
Yeah.
so when you're speaking to people, how you act, how you treat them collectively, that represents where you come from, where who brought you up, right? And she was always like, "Don't let people think that I didn't, bring you up properly." So
And I think the cool thing about it is that that was us growing up, and that was us, I guess, like as a first welcome into that society, the society, and that mindset. People are judgmental. People, they decide if to want to have an interaction with you or not based on how you appear to them. But then that translate really well within the business world, very well. And then the people, I find the people that they still fight it, they still think that they don't have uh, to dress in a respectful manner or to represent themselves the best way possible within a business environment. I still think that they lack that moment, that next step where they understand the certain environments require a certain amount of respect and a certain amount of wanting to drop down those walls. Like you talked about walls. How would you describe those walls in terms of practicality? Personally, I would say something along the lines, specifically with us, if there would have been a wall there, this conversation wouldn't have happened. But then at the same time, uh, if you are looking to create a new business relationship, a new opportunity, having that wall, you representing yourself in not the best way, make sure there's a wall where you then don't have that opportunity. And in business, I don't know if you agree, that second chance is very, very difficult to come around. How would you describe, in your specific case, the walls?
absolutely, I totally agree with what you're saying. That second chance doesn't always come around. You got to seize the opportunity every time that you're given it the first time. Um, and like I said, everyone, when they're approached and they're viewed, that's how you're being judged. And someone will take in and automatically just kind of assume who you are, right? just from what they see in the first instance of meeting you. And also, we're more than just the physical, right? We're spiritual beings. We have an energy to us. And so energy also speaks to who you are as well, because you could really represent yourself quite well. You could put yourself in, the most designer outfits and whatnot and get your hair done. But the energy that you're giving off is negative, and the energy that you're giving off isn't really complementary to everybody else around you or what you're trying to accomplish. And so it all goes towards who you are inside. And then that kind of, shifts to the exterior of who you are, right? So you do kind of break down walls, but it's more than just the physical. Who you are inside, it's your ethics, it's your morals, it's everything encompassing.
Yeah, I will call that authenticity, being authentic to yourself. I feel whenever I hear a comment, a great comment like you just made, where uh, the in Italian you would say l'abito non fa il monaco, which means the outfit doesn't make the priest, literally, like speaking, meaning that sometimes it's not enough if you're groomed and you wear everything absolutely perfect. You have like the amazing suit, you're walking into a business event and you're not authentic to yourself. It really doesn't matter that you're doing all of that because
Mhm.
again, that's not your authentic self. And you went even past that, it could be there could be a negative connotation behind it, as in, let me show you a mask, let me show you a face, and then on the
Mhm.
inside, I'm a different way. And what I like about that, that specific comment, is that I'm a firm believer in authenticity. So to me, a suit doesn't you shouldn't be wearing a suit if that's not you. And you shouldn't be wearing the navy suit if that's not you. And I believe in being authentic to yourself. And that's why I do what I do, because instead of me trying to uh, sell something that's already made and telling you and trying to convince you, oh, this is a perfect garment for you, this is absolutely perfect for your style, I like to make an informed design where we both talk, we both understand what kind of message and what kind of person you are, what kind of message you want to bring out there, how do you want to be perceived. All of those questions, it just leads to creating an image and a personal brand that really represents you, your business, and the way you are on the inside. So, not to dwell too much on this, like, you have an incredible personal brand. It shows everybody around you that was surrounding you in the event. It seems like excited to be around you. There was an incredible energy every single time I would see you speaking with somebody. Now, tell me, how do you achieve that positive energy, right? What's the mindset
Mhm.
behind it? Because it's very important for a lot of entrepreneurs to understand that sometimes the look doesn't, it's not enough. You need that energy to connect with people. Personally, think that by wearing something beautiful and feeling good about yourself, then you have that beautiful energy where you feel great about yourself, and you are able to then unleash all the goodness that you have on the inside into the room and then become magnetic. But I do want to hear your end of the story. What is the mindset behind that great energy that you bring into the room where everybody loves to be around you? And furthermore, to all of the entrepreneurs that are listening, how do you make it so you are able to create those beautiful business relationships that I've heard of?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's waking up with gratitude. I have so much appreciation for those who have come before me, those who have strived and broke down barriers, walls like we were talking about before, I would not be where I'm today, if it were not for them. If it were not for my elders and my sisters and my mother and my church group, I give praise to. I'm a believer. I'm a believer of God and Jesus Christ, and so those things make up who I am every single day, and it's a conscious decision that I make, right? Because we don't always have to. Um, no matter what part of organization you are from and with, you don't have to wake up positive. You don't have to wake up, wanting to get out there and to be to have that light or that positive vibe, shine on other people. You can, be all Debbie Downer and just be very negative, and let that impact you. But I try to make a conscious decision that everybody who I meet, everywhere that I go, that I'm leaving a mark on them,
Yeah,
because maybe they won't see me again. And that's their thought of who I am or our interaction, right? So I kind of, not that I overthink things, but I consciously make decisions to say, this is who I want to be. This is who I want to be represented as. Um, I would never want to go into a room full of people and everyone is down and sad and gloomy, especially at a business event or something that you're supposed to be elevating yourself with. I would want to be positive because it's that rah rah. It's that, we can do it, we can make it sort of mentality that pushes you forward. And you remember those moments, especially when you don't have those good times, right? Because not
that's right.
every day is sunshiny and, blue skies. So you need some motivation to pick you back up. And so if you have those things already established as your foundation, then it's easier for you when you don't have those, you know, good times and it's cloudy and raining, within your mind even or within your spirit even. So that's where some of my positivity comes from, my light, my aura, my energy. It comes from, my faith, it comes from my family, right? And I make a conscious decision to be grateful and have gratitude to others. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I mean, like you bring that into your work. You bring that into what makes you different within the world of business. Um, Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did you come up with the concept of for the things that you do? And kind of like tell me one more time what makes you different and really sticks out in the world of business.
Yeah. So I try to with, you know, lead by example, and lead with empathy, right? We have a lot of leaders that are just not, they don't care about the people. They don't care about who they're working with. And what I try to bring within my business is that I do care. I do care about your business and I do care that you're doing what you're doing because I know how hard it is. To be a business owner, to be an entrepreneur, it's not an easy road. There's a lot of times where you're just scratching your head and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna, scratch two dimes together today, right? But
Mm,
you stick it through and you are resilient, right? And that's what makes us endure. So I try to lead with a lot of empathy and I try to be understanding to people's situation, and truly try to see who they are. It's about you putting your feet into their shoes. What are
mm,
they going through? What are their challenges? What are things that they're worried about? Their pain points and all that sort of stuff. It's you got to sort of see from their perspective and their eyes, and once you do, then you can actually truly help them in their situation and moment because then you connect, right? Yeah, a little bit, not all the details through and through, but you can grasp what they're actually dealing with. and so that you can be there for them a little bit more. And I've always been, in leadership and in management, and I would always try to be one of the people because I was the people, right? I was the regular employees, the general staff, and whatnot, and moved up in corporate and whatever. And you can't forget where you came from,
Mm,
because that's what made you, right?
that's right.
And I believe a good leader is a good follower, right? And
Mm,
when you lead by example, and you truly understand who the people are, whoever you're leading, right? The followers or your staff. If you truly understand what they're going through and their everyday life, then you can really be there and have a pulse on your business, right? Because they're going to need something from you, whatever it is, if it's motivation or insight, if it's, direction. If you don't have a pulse and you're not giving them the time of day and you're not feeling it out,
yeah,
then you're going to mislead them and your team is going to go to stray and your business is going to go to stray and you're scratching your head saying why. Well, you got to look at what you're delivering and you're bringing to the table, right?
yeah.
So that's what makes me different from I guess other people and other businesses and other entrepreneurs, I guess you can say, is that that's at the forefront of my mind. I don't forget
Mm.
that. I always try to lead by example.
And can I ask you? I'll leave you a second to think about it. What are
Mhm.
three? What are three quote unquote commandments? Like three belief systems that you apply into your business every day and you want for people to remember you for. So I'll give you a moment to think about it. I'll just mention, to give you an example, to kind of like show you like my how open and kind of like and raw I want to be in this conversation. I think for in my specific case, having like there's definitely a very clear values that stand in front of me and I lead my life by. Number one, I call it Italianness, right? So,
Okay.
and it's so odd because it's very difficult to describe, but it is really about welcoming people. It's about
Mhm.
being welcoming, being understanding, no judgment, being generous. Like it's about making feel people accepted. So
Mhm.
if I had to describe it in a very short words, I would say Italianness, I'm making feel being accepted for who they are. And when they take that journey with me, then I genuinely help them achieve who they becoming, like showing to the world from the outside the person they are becoming. So number one is Italianness. Number two, I I firmly believe in authenticity. So for me, whenever somebody asks me, "Hey, can I use you to put a mask for the people to appear in a different way that I'm not?" I personally I'm against it. Like I believe so much in authenticity that one of my first words will be something along the lines, "Hey, like, thank you for coming." I would say if you just wanted to show like the person that you're not to the rest of the world, I'm not your person. I'm not your tailor.
Mhm.
I'm a guy, right?
Right.
So for me, authenticity is not is like it's essential. I need to be able to help you bring the real message, the real you on the outside and get all of the people around you to see you, to truly see you, and to truly appreciate the person that you are in an authentic way.
Mhm.
And the third thing that I like that I live by is giving a voice to the voiceless. So I personally was one of them. I personally was the man that, because of my accent, because of my uniqueness, not being exactly the same as everybody else, uh, I had struggled through life, through school. Like I had struggles when I moved into a different country as an adult. I was 25. Uh, so I felt unheard for a lot of the times. I felt like that person that wasn't seen as the person that he was, and it wasn't heard for who he was. So then for me, it's very important to give voice to the voiceless and give that that voice to the person that needs to be heard, that has all of the goodness on the inside, and the only thing they needs is to bring down those walls on the outside and show everyone what are they really made of, and what best way to do that by just make him or her look incredibly professional, sharp, but at the same time authentic to themselves. Now that you had a moment to think about it, is it three uh, commandments that you live your professional life by?
Yeah, I think one of them, like those were really good. I have to tell you, those are really good. I like those. Ditto. No,
It's true. I mean,
you
like
know,
that's how you have. That's how you have me. Like this is like improvised. This is on the moment.
same, all the same. Um, no, but one thing I know that I like to do, and this is more than just business. This is in my everyday life. Is I like to make people feel welcome. Um, and again, like a lot of things transpire in your later in your life as an adult because of your childhood. We talk about
Sure.
childhood traumas, but there's also childhood rules, regulations, or upbringing, just your upbringing and what's been passed down to you. And so what was always around us was making people feel welcome, right?
Mm.
Um, and in addition to that, so like another level to that is making people feel like family, right?
Ah,
Uh,
beautiful.
I have friends that, they're not my friends, they're my family.
Yeah.
We're from a different mother, but eh, we're like this, you know? And there's just something that clicks in you. There's something that draws people in and you want them to be a part of your family, and you connect with them on a different level. And so it's deeper and the conversations are deeper. They're not just about regular things, the weather or what
Mm.
have you. They're more intentional, and there's so much depth to it, and there's so much passion to the conversations. And so making people feel welcome and family probably is all in one. Is I would say that would be the first one. um the second one would be versatility, because in my life, I've had many different positions. So I've always been entrepreneurial, right? And I was in corporate, but I still had a side job. In corporate, managing 350 employees, and along 11 offices, and um, I would still have my side job as, interior designer or a graphic designer or a personal trainer and nutritionist. And so I still fed my passions, right? Um, and I didn't let that, what I did on a day-to-day basis, even though I liked what I did and I had honor in what I did, I didn't let that, sort of just limit me. And I stay in this tunnel vision and I stay in this one lane. I like to be versatile. We are
Yeah.
versatile, right? We're a mother, a father, a son, a brother, a daughter, a cousin. There's more to you than just one thing, right?
Yeah.
So I like that versatility as well. And so uh, the the third one I would say is entrepreneurial, but I mean that's a little, it keeps us like too, on business and stuff like that. But it would be that, but I would say like strategic and analytical. I love psychology, and I like to know people's mind, what they're thinking about. It fascinates me. I used to go to the coffee shop a lot and with friends, a lot of the times, growing up in my 20s and whatnot, we used to go to the coffee shop, talk and strategize about our life and what it looked like 5, 10 years in the future. But I would go to coffee shops by myself as well, and I would just sit down and watch people and people watch, not in a creepy way, right? But in a in a way that I'm just like, I'm fascinated by what your conversation might be. They might not be
Yeah.
talking to anybody, they reading a book, or they might be the baristas making the
Oh, they're just
coffee
so
that I'm
different,
sipping.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, who are you, right? Who are you? What makes up this person? What is your day in a life of in your world? And that's why I love to travel too. I've been to many places around the world, and I'm just like, I travel not just to be on a beach and to sunbathe. I don't need it. I already have melanin, so I don't need that. But what I go there for is a day in a life of that individual. I don't stay at the hotel and I don't do the all inclusives. I go inland and I go to see where the people go and what they eat and where they hang out, who they're talking to and what they're doing in their spare time. Because why not?
I
Why
think
not? When you go to Italy, why are
I
you
think you're
this like
speaking you're speaking about like curiosity, which is a great it's a great commandment to live by, because I'll tell you what, a lot of the successful people that I know, that I met and that I spoke to, they always talk about being curious. Be curious,
100%?
see over the line, have a look at the next thing, which is very, very interesting. The one thing I wanted to ask you, and this is literally kind of like taking a turn. I is the curiosity that you have about the world, right? About the world, about the people, is the curiosity that you have that made you explore, I guess, tailoring, the way that you dress, the patterns that you use. What made you explore that side of you?
So it is a little bit of curiosity. It is. It's personality, right? I like to have a personality from what I just look like as well, not just, you know, my personality comes through my speech and, I use my hands a lot, so I have to like tame myself, like hold my hands back sometimes. Italians are like that too. I have a lot of Italian friends. Jamaicans, we like to use, we're expressive. We're expressive in, what we wear sometimes and how we act and how we dance. And so a lot of that comes through. My culture comes through who I am in different ways, right? Um, so that curiosity, yes, and it comes through my what I do like to wear and how I like to wear it. And sometimes some people wouldn't choose that, but I'm confident in what I am wearing and how I represent myself wherever I go, and I can stand tall in the outfit that I'm wearing because I chose it and I'm representing myself. It's a part of my brand. There's one word that I live by, and it's being about intentional. I like to be
Oh,
a man of intention. And so if I'm going to pick something to wear today, it's a Monday, I'm going to be intentional to how I want to represent myself today on this
yeah.
Monday. And that every single day. If it's a casual day, it's still being intentional of what I am representing and I'm saying. My home is going to be intentional of what I'm picking, and I'm not just choosing anything and throwing things together. It's thinking deeply of how I want to represent myself today, right? And that does
That's
reflect
very
on how
cool.
you feel too, right? How you represent yourself on a daily basis is how you feel. If you're rolling out of bed with bed head and all this other stuff, the whole day you're going to be dragging your feet. So it's
Oh,
just a
you
little bit,
can't.
right?
Yeah, you can't do that. No. Well, it's interesting how you spoke about being intentional. And I was reflecting back to me. I was literally thinking, was I intentional this morning when I put together this, like for this Zoom call? Was I intentional for how I started my day? I must admit, like, I feel I made intentional easy for me. And I'll tell you how,
Mhm.
right? I
Mhm.
literally, and this is like we strictly talking about the clothes, not the mindset. But
Right.
from a clothing perspective, from a style perspective, me being intentional, I made it easy because when I look at my wardrobe, all of the colors that I made for jackets, suits, trousers, and shirts, literally, they go well together. So this is
Right.
the concept is the concept of they call it capsule wardrobe. I want to give it a different name because for me to say capsule is very difficult, and and I'm sure the subtitles won't pick it up the way it's meant to be read. But
Right.
literally, the concept is having all of your clothes in a color scheme and in a style that make so you can mix and match with ease. So that being intentional for me, it translates into making it easy for myself and making it so it's absolutely easy for me to mix and match. To bring it back, what I wanted to ask you, and this is like a pearl for me. I mean, I'm going to ask you a couple more things before we close this. I don't want to keep you on for too long, but I'm really curious. I'm really curious about these specific things. Number
Yeah.
one, I would like you to tell me the story. Give me a story of how you got in touch with your first tailor. Like, how'd you get in touch with the first guy? What was it like when you went to see him? And kind of like, have you changed ever since then? Have you met other tailors or whatever? So that's number one. I will ask you again later. And then number two, that I'm really, really curious about, we're talking about habits. And, one of them, and this is something that I ask all of the successful people that I interview because it's about sharing and not gatekeeping and showing other entrepreneurs how you live that life. How do you achieve that life or keep on bettering them yourself and kind of like in a positive way. And you talked about being grateful. So I wanted to ask you more about habits behind that because right now we have a close up or like of you, but really you're a tall man, fit. So you take care of yourself in all fronts. So let's start from, I would like to hear a story about, your first tailoring experience. Was it anything that made it special? And why did you stuck to it? Is it because you're so tall that was it difficult for you to find clothes or you tell me the story.
Actually, you kind of hit one of them. It's true. Because I'm 6'2", I was an athlete, right? And so yeah, I ran, track and did high jump, played basketball and this and that, right? And so I was tall and I was lean. And I kind of became a little bit more muscular in my 20s and I took the gym more seriously. I started eating more and again being more intentional. And so the clothes didn't fit me very well off the rack. It just doesn't. It would be tight some places and then really loose in other places just because of my height and because of where places developed more in my body, right? So my biceps would get really big because I'm a runner. My quads get really big, my legs get really, right. So it'd be really like tight in some places and loose in others. So I found that I wasn't really comfortable just with anything off the rack. And so I would have to try to find an affordable way to kind of make it a little bit more, um, I don't know, just a little bit more acceptable in the things that I was wearing. And so that's why I am intentional into what I do wear, because my body is just shaped a little bit differently than others. Some people don't understand that, but they made clothes a lot better these days. They make more stretchy clothing for people who do work out and whatnot, who do have a figure, a muscular figure. But I didn't always have that. And they didn't always have that within the market. So what I had to do was go to a tailor a lot of the times and be like, "Hey, can you lengthen these for my arms? Because my arms are really long. Can you lengthen these for my legs? And can you widen this place?" And so I walked into a suiting store and I went right to the back. I was kind of just walking around at first, and when I went to the back, there was a woman there, kind of sizing an individual, and I just went up to her afterwards when she was free, and I just started asking her a whole lot of questions. And she said, "You know what? Why don't you bring some stuff by and I can see if they can actually be tailored, because not everything can be tailored depending on what if there's extra material and stuff." So I brought it by to her and she was fantastic. And she was able to manipulate the clothes so that it does fit my body. And I thought that was an amazing experience. And you know what? Some people would think that it would be so expensive to do, and it's not. It's absolutely not. And I think probably it depends on who you go to and whatnot, but she loved what she did. And she was
That's
so
amazing.
happy to help someone. And it's kind of like I said, "I see you," right? Like you're not just someone in the back. You're not just someone, you know, lengthening a sleeve by an inch, after you buy the suit and whatnot. You do have a purpose, and there is more to you, and you're a human being, and what are you all about? And so she was an older woman. She's probably like 20 years older than me at that time. And just talking to her and seeing where she came from, what her life was like. I just got into conversation because that's what I do. I just get into conversation with people. I get deep. And so she was just like, kind of, like took a step back, and she was like, "Wow, like, why are you even talking to me right now? Why don't you go find something to wear, or, go look at the clothing, or, do something with your day." And honestly, I just really like talking to people. I just really like conversing and connecting. So I got to know who she was, right? And it makes me feel more comfortable as a customer to know who you are, and if you do like to do this, because I want to bring my stuff somewhere where it's enjoyable. You want to do this for me. That's the partnership here, right? I don't want to bring it to somewhere that you're not going to like it too much, and then I'm gonna have to bring it somewhere else because you messed up on it or what have you, right?
Yeah, that's
So that
amazing.
was my first experience with a tailor, and it was a very good experience. And unfortunately, people pass on, and um you have to, and then I had to find another tailor, but she was fantastic. She was fantastic at what she did. She was a fantastic person. And I loved, just talking to her before I dropped off stuff to her to tailor and whatnot, and seeing how her kids were and stuff like that, right? It's kind of like I said before, that family aspect. You choose your people.
Yeah.
It's a family that you choose. You weren't born into. So I chose her, right? And yeah, really appreciated her, and I was grateful.
That's really
Yeah.
nice. And I mean, like, and that's the cool thing about tailoring is that it's, again, feel what I heard from this story. You were seen for who you were. You've seen the tailor that helped you as well, and at the same time, you were able to kind of like live your life in terms with the person that you were, authentic, instead of conforming and just being like everybody else. You were an athlete, very muscular, tall, very difficult for you to fit off the rack. So then all of a sudden, once your things were tailored and you feel comfortable and confident at the same time,
Mm.
because obviously that's the next step after comfort. Everybody always, when the people ask me about my confidence, most times I say the first step is comfort. Once you're comfortable, meaning that you're comfortable with yourself in your own skin, then confidence is literally something that just happened. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
be confident. You will not try to be confident. It's just something that happens once you are comfortable within your own skin. And that's what probably happened to you the moment that you step into a tailored suit to your specific size. The one thing, like I mentioned before, that I'm very curious about is, again, your habits, because it's extremely interesting to see somebody like you, very successful at business, you juggling, like this business journey, but then at the same time, you take care of yourself. You have habits to take care of your body, your health. You have habits to take care of your clients in your business. And again, I'll bring it back to how you do one thing is how you do everything. But can you please tell me if you could kind of like name it so it's easy enough for people to hear and to understand, what are your habits? What are the things that make you the person that you are?
Yeah. So it's planning, right? I think a lot of it goes to strategic planning. What does your week look like? What does your month look like? What does your year look like? Right. So I think you have to really um, be intentional with your planning for the year. Not everything is going to go exactly as planned. Obviously, we know that. Life throws us a lot of different twists and turns and hills and valleys. But if you don't have a plan, you're going to be left vulnerable and you're going to be left just in the unknown, right? And then anything happens, you're going to just go with it. You have no direction. So during my week or before my week starts on my Sunday, what I like to do is, meal prep, and I like to know what I'm going to eat for the week, and I like to know what my schedule is going to be like. So I do a review of what my schedule is like and who I'm going to be meeting and what I'm going to be saying to them, right? What possibly can they say back to me that I can, help them with, kind of giving that, foresight, to myself ahead of time to know what my conversations are going to be like and how's it going to what the direction of that's going to be. Yes, in fitness, like we have to take care of our bodies, right? So my background is in fitness and in nutrition as many other things. And so I know that I have to be intentional with that. I have to know how many days a week am I going to train? When am I going to train? And when am I going to get my rest as well? Because rest is recovery, which helps us, move forward faster. And so, all these things you have to plan. If you don't plan, they're not going to happen.
I love it.
There's always going to be something that comes up. There's always going to be something that happens to make an excuse why you didn't do X, Y, Z. And
And I
to
think
be
it's
honest with you, at the end of the day,
being
they're just excuses.
intentional. That's right. And I think it's being intentional, right? Like it goes back to that. That is a core value of yours, like being intentional, because the way you plan it, it's so you are intentional about what you eat, when you exercise, what kind of business you do. I think it's great to hear the way you look at life and how you're creating your success. It's like very incredible to see, amazing to see. One last question I wanted to ask you. We talked about the world of first impressions, and us two, like the two of us, we podcast and this interview is a result of quite literally a 5 minute exchange, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to ask you is, we were talking about first impressions at the very beginning of this conversation. What was your first impression of me, and what made you say yes to this conversation?
Yeah. Um, my first impression of you was I saw you on the stage. That's the first time I saw you. You came out and you were one of the MCs for a segment, and I didn't know anything about you. I didn't know what industry you were in. I didn't know your name or anything like that unless it was on the screen, right? It was the first time I saw you. And um, obviously, one, I hear your accent. Okay, you're Italian. Okay, so you're not American. We were in America, right? So the first impression is just the download of data is what happens with me is I download the data of what I'm seeing, right? And I think, things get put into certain categories, right? To understand it. And I think a lot of people do that, but I'm a person who has an awareness, right, of myself. And so I do that. I download the data of who a person, who they are and who they can be in my mind before meeting them. And so when you were on stage, what comes to my mind is no one's going to ask you to be on stage and to be a presenter and present other people to be on a panel or to come out unless you are someone that's charismatic, that you can have a presence to you that, you know, people will be attracted to, people will want to hear, people would want to see. And so all these things, again, they get put into the categories of this is an interesting person to me, and I want to know more about them um, because of what I saw. And so that's my first impression of you. I was like, you were very interesting, and I want to know more about you. I want to hear more about you. I want to know what you're doing and how you see life and what your values are and your psychology, like all of it. It was just like to get into someone's mind is an interesting place. It could be scary too, but it's a very
Well,
interesting place.
well, I hope that like this exchange, like this conversation, kind of like showed you um, a very authentic uh, way of getting to know me and kind of like being very open to show you how open I am with my again like being inside of my mind and how I view life and how I see things because like I had like the best first impression with you. This is the best second impression of you that I had. Goes to show that how you take care of yourself and how you show yourself in the world. It goes a long way for a lot of people from all around the world. Again, you're in Canada, I'm in Australia, we met in the US. And it's very important to understand the importance. If you wouldn't have taken care of yourself in the way you do, if I wouldn't have carried myself in the way I do, this wouldn't happen. So a lot of the times that I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, whenever I hear one day, because obviously specifically they're talking to me, so they'll say, one day I'll get a suit from you. One day I will present myself and I'll get your help to introduce me to the world in the way that I'm meant to be seen. And the things that they don't know is what you miss out on because the missed opportunities are the absolute silent killers. You don't know the opportunities that you miss. You really don't. And one of the things that I like to make an example of is you were there in your strong, confident energy. You noticed me, I noticed you, and then we made this happen, but there will be a million things happening after this. And it's important to show that all of this happened because of first impressions. If
Right.
there wouldn't have been a strong first impression, this wouldn't have happened, and business wouldn't happen. And business most times it transform in quite literally dollars in the bottom line of all of these entrepreneurs that will miss opportunities. Look, you've been incredible. I really thank you for the time that you spent in doing this podcast. to show exactly how you think, how you view life, and how important it is for you to make sure that you show yourself for who you are, and that's how you find, in a way, your people. That's how you find your family.
Mm,
You talked about your friends, your family. You talked about
yeah.
connecting with people. It's been truly incredible. Like, Philip, like, yeah, thank you so much. Like, you've been
Had a great time.
absolutely a
Thank you.
superstar.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here with you. It's great to get to know you a little bit more and your wife and what you do. And we don't always have to be in the same place to connect, right? And this shows you how, it doesn't matter where you're from and what you do, it's who you are, right? And there's certain things that draw people together. And I have great amount of respect for you and what you're doing, and I just appreciate being here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.